Let's discuss.
Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I will be checking out 2 tracks from the band Face Yourself off of their EP, which is out now. It is called Face Yourself Self-Titled EP. This is a new band. We covered 1 song on stream, which is how I fully got into the sound, but I had already had them on my radar and was trying to get something sorted, so I'm glad we're finally here. The track we did on stream was Shadow Self, and then in today's video, as you probably saw in the title, I will be checking out Hypothermia and Red. The full EP is, like I said, it's out, so make sure you go check it out on streaming services if you enjoy this and haven't heard them yet, but I am very excited to hear the rest of this because I love what I have heard from this band so far. So all of their social media, both of the videos I'll be using in the reaction portion of this, all that good stuff can be found in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Oh. Super cool guitars on this part. Oh, the panning from left to right. Ooh, that riff is doing something. Oh. That Pan Ray guitar? Ooh, not a lot of grip. They got their atmosphere. The perfectly placed snare. Oh, we got another. They have some tough callouts in the closing track. Pause this. Let me wait till the outro. Another lead that adds a lot to the... That's... awful. Oh man, cut him right off. This is a filthy. Okay, bass. Oh, Face Yourself, Hypothermia and Red, taken from the EP, Face Yourself self-titled EP. Let's discuss. This is an EP for me that will go on and stay on the playlist from the moment I put the other tracks off the EP that I was not saving for this video into the playlist, and I got to the closing track and it had the call out of fuck around and find out. That was a big moment for me of being like, okay, I need to push this video up in my listening. You know, big aggressive call outs like that almost make you laugh from how aggressive, for lack of a better term, they are. That's stuff that really clicks with me when done in this way. Of course, it can't just be anything with, you know, that's not the only box to check, I suppose, but when you look at the rest of the things this band bring to the table, they're checking all the boxes for me. And when it comes to something like this, of course, I have different bands and check boxes for different styles, I would say, but when it comes to something that's this relentless feeling, it has aspects worked into it that just give it such replay value for me. I can see this staying on my rotation all year, starting with Hypothermia, since that was the first song that we listened to. Immediately to me, more of those highs sticking out. That was something that listening through the EP, otherwise, when I'm saying listening through the EP, otherwise I'm talking about when I listened to, after we did the first track, Shadow Self, on stream, I wanted to listen to more of what the band had to offer, so I took the rest of the EP and I listened to it other than Hypothermia and Red. So that's what I'm referring to. But when I did that, that was another time that on each song that kept coming on, I was like, what is, let me look at the timestamp on this, because the highs were just a highlight, but you get those highs pretty much straight away in Hypothermia, so it was again something that I just could not stop focusing on whenever it, came to be in a part of one of these songs. It was an attention grabber for me. The high vocals sound incredible. I think overall the lows have that, while I'm on this, the lows have like that depth to them, and the, I guess, like rumbling almost in some parts that match those like thundery sounding riffs, which I think there's a good balance between like the thundery and technical stuff. The layering of the guitar work was a huge standout portion for me. And speaking of layering, there was one part in Hypothermia where the vocals were layered between Yasmin, the vocalist, and then one of the guitarists, Corey. Those vocals layered together sounded phenomenal. That adds a lot of texture, I think, as well. So layering here with vocals, with guitars, that for me was another huge check on my boxes. The ending breakdown on Hypothermia, the use of the feature, I think, yet being arguably like, I don't want to actually, it's not the heaviest part, it's pretty consistently heavy through it, but matches up with the heaviest parts of the song. I'll at least say that outro, but at the same time, there's a level of atmosphere that wasn't fully present that way. It was like cranked up to 10 on the outro breakdown, and feature, all of that, but it was lightly present throughout the rest of the song. Certain places you could hear it a little bit, and it just all the way up to 10 at the end. These two songs have completely opposite outros as well. I loved Hypothermia, but between the two tracks, Red definitely takes the cake for me. It does not waste a single millisecond going straight into that song. It's like the first 10 seconds that they have. One of my favorite breakdown callouts from this year. Both, I would say, that immediately come to mind right now come from this band, but I probably should come up with an extensive list. Both of these would still make it on there from the closing track with that Fuck Around and Find Out, but then you have in Red, Say It to My Face, You Bitch. That is just as hard as the other one. On a 5-track EP, it's not overly done either. I've definitely heard some bands where it's like call out like that after call out, 4 in one song, 4 in every song off an EP or something, and I do think that gets a bit redundant. It's a little bit more of a gem in the release when they're like, there are 2 coming in there somewhere. They have other stuff that I think delivers on that heaviness as well, but I would classify those 2 callouts in the same category, I guess. But yeah, that certainly landed with me, and it's in the first 10 seconds. Like I mentioned with the closing track, that was kind of something I was hoping for going into these 2, but I wasn't sure, mentioning what I just mentioned about how it can get redundant and stuff. It's not an expectation I really want to set, just to look for something overly heavy call-out wise from the band, and not overly in a bad way. I mean it in a good way, because I really like it. The solo in Red, I think it added a lot to the showcase of guitars that we get on this EP, especially being a debut from this band. They fit a good amount of stuff into this EP, all stuff that gets me excited for whatever they'll continue to do in the future, but having the style of solo that was in there, and a little bit of a more like classic style to some of the guitar work where you have thundery and technical riffs. Other places in Hypothermia is a really good example of that, but Red you could say the same there. It just has a little something extra as well. Not something that I was expecting really as I closed out. That was the last track for me to piece this EP together, the only one I hadn't heard at that point after hearing Hypothermia. You get the loading screen before that breakdown, which I thought was really clever, and it lets you know. Sometimes you get a breakdown that sneaks up on you, and sometimes you get one that, there's that build up and that lets you know, whether it be visually or a super long build up instrumentally, whatever the case is. Oh yeah, and I didn't even mention, in the lead up to the feature on Hypothermia, the vocals that Yasmin uses there, like it's almost spoken, kind of hardcore call out soundy, but not at all at the same time, if that makes sense. I loved that. It was very emotive, very pissed sounding, and then leads into that feature perfectly. So on Red, we also get some of like the goblin mode vocals. We get more highs. It's just a very impressive release, I think, overall from most aspects. I was unsure if like the outro there in Red was gonna build back up, like, you know, using singing and a bit of a slowdown to then slam back in. But as an outro, it's really cool because it does add that dynamic as well between the two songs that I picked to use for a video. Completely different outros. So it doesn't always, I think sometimes when a band overuses breakdown outros as well, that can be something that people catch on to a little bit or becomes predictable and stuff. And so I was almost expecting it to go, not for this band, like I think they're too new for me to really be like, oh, I'm expecting them to do this or that. They have a total of 5 songs. Prior to this, I had only heard 4 of, so it wasn't really that. But the outro breakdown has become increasingly popular. It's always been around, it's always been there, but it's been big in the last few years, more so I'd say, or I'm just listening to stuff with more of it. So I think that's why in my mind I was like, all right, it's like a, you know, it's like a slowdown before a big ol', but it wasn't, and I think it worked really well as an outro as well. This EP, like I said, debut for the band. It's a very strong debut. I don't have anything I would want different from this. I just am interested to hear what else they will do, because it has, like aspects I've mentioned that really stuck out to me, especially the parts where it can sound so heavy, yet they're adding a bit of something ambient, some atmosphere there. I love stuff like that, and it works a lot better for me replay-wise than I think most just relentlessly heavy, straight up heavy types. Most, again, there is stuff that's weekly on my chart I'm listening to all the time that would fall into that category, but I think when you're looking at like a bigger picture and stuff that is usually more likely to go on the play, that's the way I lean more. There's always going to be 1 off, 2 off, 10 off, whatever. There may be a good amount of it that I listen to, but I'm more talking about comparison wise than preference overall. Anyway, now that I've said a lot of words, I will link all of Face Yourself's social media, promotional links. If there are any like physical copies or merch for the EP, I will also link them in the description. The videos that I used in the reaction portion of this, which are also very well done, I will include in the description also. You can also find my link tree there. That will have the invite for the Discord server. It'll have my Patreon link as well as my Twitch. On Discord, that is where we have the community based for my YouTube channel. A bunch of music lovers having both music-related and non-music-related conversation. If you're interested in coming to join and check it out, that will be there. On Patreon, I offer various different things. We do a live stream every month with my monthly recap, kind of going over everything that I've listened to over the month that stood out to me. So I recap everything. I'll do it on the stream, and then I'll post it on Patreon as well. I offer playlists/mixtapes for tier 3. Twitch, I'm working on getting up and running, so if you're interested in seeing when that pops up and what I'm doing on there, that is there as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.